Hey, hey, everybody. It's your girl, Yuba,
It's your girl Robin.
and welcome to 40.
Pretty.
All right, so thank you for joining us. If this is your
Mhm.
first time, welcome. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, but we're not recording on it right now. So, hey, right, if this is your first time here, we are a podcast, vlogcast, whatever
Whatever.
you want to. We're still trying to figure this out. No, but seriously, we talk about a little bit of everything, and it's from a 40-ish perspective. Okay, because we've been and saying some things, and we've been living our best life. So that's what we're here to do. If you haven't already, click subscribe, like,
Down
and
below.
share. And guess what? It doesn't cost you a thing. So go ahead and do that for us. Um, Tonight, what we're going to be talking about.
We are going to be talking about, actually, people have been talking about this story for a while. It's the stabbing probe of Courtney Tailor, I guess, aka Courtney Clenney. That she's an OnlyFans star that stabbed her boyfriend in their high-rise apartment in Miami. When the police found her, she was covered in blood, and I guess the issue is that without taking her in, without any kind of questioning, they ruled it a self-defense case right there on the spot. And so the family is now reopening the case a month later. I think it was April 27 when it was first reported. They're opening the case again on her because they feel like it wasn't any due diligence kind of done on the case. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like what it is. So, but I think the issue is that the cops immediately called it self-defense. So it's a lot of things that come into mind. I think that's what we're going to talk about. One, the factor of even if it was self-defense, why did she? It doesn't seem like she was ever taken into questioning. She was able to go home, and then two, it was definitely she's claiming self-defense, but there was a case for domestic violence in there between their relationship. But I think the family is claiming that she might have been mad about him and another girl, whatever the argument was about, and that he would never escalate it to the point where she would have to. They feel like she could have had another option, like she didn't have to kill him or she didn't have to
She didn't have
stab
to
him.
be there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, my understanding is that she had kicked him. They weren't. I don't know. At some point, she had kicked him out. It was reports of him sleeping on the premises. And he wasn't living there at the time. I don't know if he was living during the time that this incident happened, but at some point he was kicked out of the home. So I don't know. One, that was her home. So it's a lot of missing pieces that I read a lot of different articles. Is that they're not nobody's really clear on. But what we do know is that the family doesn't think that I don't think they think that they had domestic violence issues. What they did, they don't think that it warranted him being stabbed. And on top of it, they don't feel like justice was done by just saying, "Oh, okay, it was self-defense right there on the spot." And then that's another question: like, who does that? When has that ever happened?
Yeah.
Should she have gone through the same? Even if she's innocent, she should have gone through the same type of
the due process.
I don't know any cases. Yeah, due process. As a anybody else. So I don't know any cases where people are like, oh, that's self-defense right then and there. Now you can say that, but they still like even on the shows. Okay, we still need to take you down to the station for a line of questioning.
Right?
Yeah. So my understanding, and anybody, please DM us, let us know any extra information in terms of that's all I know, and I know the family isn't happy. But I do want to state that there is a police report for a week prior to the incident where they had been evidence on her, marks on her, and possibly him too. I don't know. He's a big guy compared to her. So maybe not saying that she didn't hit him, that they were in a domestic dispute and the police were called literally a week before this happened. So there is definite evidence and these were different police officers, weren't the same ones, evidence that there was domestic violence. I want to put that out there. By no means are we saying that women, we are definitely women, women first. But I think it's just a question of the due process and whether I think the family's thinking that, she was upset about some information that she heard and took it a little bit too far. So that's the take.
She had a criminal background. So she had
Okay.
actually a warrant against her, which also leads me to believe, why didn't she get arrested for the
Yeah.
warrant?
Well,
Even
that's
if
even
not for the
worse.
stabbing, for the warrant that she was in question for. So I don't know if they held her or what happened. And again, I didn't deep dive into why she had the warrant, and I'm going to check into that. But she had a warrant.
And why didn't they arrest her the week before then?
Right. So let's take a look at this nice couple. May he rest in peace. That's Mr. Christian Obumsele. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name right, because I'm not
There's
good
not
with
with none, guys.
dialect. Obumsele, rest in peace. And this is Miss Courtney Tailor. Okay. Now, if we go back to our regularly scheduled programming, we people will want to say race. Why is race always an issue? Well, clearly they're a mixed race couple. Would this have been the same outcome if he had a black girlfriend? If a black girlfriend did the stabbing? I think people were infuriated the next day or like the week later. She was at Miami at a bar, socializing,
She was in a
dating,
mall or
dancing.
something too.
Yeah, she was just chilling, living her best life after she just killed somebody. So whether it was intentional or not, I don't think you should be out celebrating after you just took somebody's life. Like that shows
Mm-hmm.
a sign of, I don't know, bro. What does that show? A sign of psychopath or somebody with no remorse? Like you supposedly was in a relationship
Maybe
with
she's
this person.
she's apathetic. It would say to people that she's apathetic about what she just did, or apathetic person. Don't really have any feelings or numb, or she's done this before, like try to stab somebody or try to like she's
Yeah,
comfortable
and
with.
that was she has a actual she did this before too, a ex-boyfriend, and I don't know his race,
Okay.
but so she has a history. So now she has a history
Oh, okay.
and prior offenses. I don't know what the warrant was for, but okay, we can take them off the screen now because I'm not just. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I don't know what the warrant was for, but I'm saying she has a prior history. So somebody with a prior history, it was. I feel like it was definitely racially whatever,
Motivated,
not motivated, but on her part.
or
But
how they handled the
it was
case.
dismissed because
Mm-hmm.
of race, and that's the only. I don't have any facts, but I mean it's just
Mm-hmm.
obvious that had he been a white guy or had she been a black female, she would have been held in question. You know, they would have definitely
Mm-hmm.
deep dived a little bit further. Like if she
Mm-hmm.
had killed a white guy, it said it was self defense. They would have looked at his past history, which I don't think he had any priors other than the week before. And maybe
Okay.
this was a plot. Maybe this was premeditated. I don't know. My writer's mind always thinking, especially watching these Lifetime movies. I'll be like, oh,
It could be.
I just feel like maybe it was premeditated that she got him to a point that he was so mad that he hit her. Not that that's ever an excuse to put your hands on a
Mm-hmm.
female, but some of these females, now y'all know I'm right, be acting up. Now, I have 4 sons, and I'm telling them not to put their hands on a female. However, in self-defense, if she's coming for you, and I don't care how small she is, small people can hurt you. They can pick up a weapon. They can pick up a weapon. They can pick up they can really should they just sit there and take abuse because they're the opposite sex? And then, what if you
Yeah, this is a
transgender?
hard one for me. This is very now that you added the element of, that she has a record. I mean, it's a long shot, but the family possibly could prove that this is her MO. That she had an intention of killing the last person that she tried to stab or whatever. Or The opposite could be that she gets involved with abusive men, you know, in general. People, you can have a pattern of domestic violence. It's not,
Mm.
it doesn't mean that she's like, oh, I'm gonna go after her. She could be picking the same type of man. There's people who have been in abusive relationships over and over and over again. So you could establish. So either way, I think, well, the trial, honestly, I wouldn't know which way it would go because I think both sides have a case in a way.
Now, but generally, do you typically see women who date abusive men? Do they typically end up stabbing them? Because usually it's like if they're
Um,
dating abusive men, usually they're the ones that's becoming the victims, and they're the ones who ended up in the hospital and physically, and it usually ends out bad for the female,
yeah.
unless. But I'm not. I haven't. I mean, and again, I don't know every case, but I haven't heard of any such case where the woman
Hmm.
is being abused and then just constantly trying to stab and go after the guy. It's usually
I mean, I would say this. I would say yes, but not every time. Maybe in each situation, it escalated to this. But then we would have to prove that, when they fought, her go-to was to grab something and throw it at them, and that's subjective. Nobody was ever in the home unless they had cameras in there. It'll just be a really. It could be what the family is saying, but yeah, I do think that women can be in situations where maybe not initially they do that, but it
Mhm.
can escalate to that. But the fact that she has a record and a warrant does not bode well for her. So her situation could be that she gets violent when she doesn't get her way, or it could be that she gets involved with these guys and then it escalates and then she has to defend herself. That could still be a pattern. Doesn't mean every time they fight that she was doing that, but let's say it got so bad that it escalated to that point. Um,
Mhm.
that could have happened. But then also too, I think, did somebody come forth and say that she did this to them before?
Yeah, witnesses have come forth on
Mm-hmm.
the behalf of the deceased
Mm-hmm.
and say that they've experienced or that she's done this before, to
Mm-hmm.
speak out against her. So that part's not
Mm-hmm.
looking good. But we must keep in
Mm-hmm.
consideration that this is Florida, where they have the craziest stories, and they've got the Tiger King, and they got all kind of stories going on in Florida, y'all.
Yeah, they do, and they have and
Stand
then
your
this
ground.
oh yeah, they do have, yeah. But they also, people in the building came out and said they saw him try to strike her or about to strike her. This guy said he's walking around the corner. And this is around the time the week prior. I think honestly, we have to think when you think about these cases. So um I'm not saying that race wasn't a fact. I have to think objectively. And it's not so much what I believe, is what the police have. Everything else is subjective, right? People's testimony, oh, she did this before, unless that person comes out and say, yeah, she tried to hit me when we were in a relationship. That's a witness, right? But
Mhm.
what we do know is there was a police report. The police were out there a week prior, right? And the police knew there was an issue of domestic violence. It just didn't escalate to this point. So we do know there's a pattern, and it's documented, of domestic violence. That's all I know. Now, whether domestic violence was done to this poor young man or to her, it didn't bode well for him because she's the one that had all the marks on her. But that still doesn't mean that she didn't hit him. It doesn't mean that she didn't fight, that she didn't do anything to him.
Okay,
But
so how long
based
did
on the
they?
facts, I still don't think that they should have not have. I still think she should have still been questioned, even despite all that. That's the part that is bothering me. I can't deny that she wasn't a domestic violence victim. It's documented. They saw it. It was a different set of police officers. What bothers me is that, like you said, I think the entitlement of it all is that because she's white, she wasn't questioned. She wasn't taken into question. Yeah, we know, but what happened last week could still have been different from this. The
Right,
only
and
thing that's
how long did they
concrete is that
date? How long did they date?
it's like a year or two or something.
And so they had one incident of domestic violence, and that warrant
They
established.
had several, but I think it's just significant that the situation was escalating. because it was called literally a week before, not months before, like literally a week before. I don't even think they should have. I don't even know what happened. Like, did they leave him and her? Like, if you and you have to think, is it negligent of the police? Not, you know what I'm saying? I feel like more should have happened, a week before. Maybe that could have saved this young man's life because nothing was done. They were both left. Nobody pressed charges, and I know that happens a lot. And so there was whatever was happening. It was saying that it was escalating, right? The police were literally just called. I don't know if it should have been like a restraining order put or how it ended. That's why I said it's not enough information. But clearly there was an issue because she killed him a week later. Right. Like literally killed him. But I feel like it was all around. It might, I guess the question is, does this fall on the police and how they handled it? Even going out prior, nobody was arrested. Maybe if he was arrested or she was arrested. If he was arrested, he'd probably still be alive. Right. Or she was arrested. You see what I'm saying? Right. Nothing was.
If she was put on her warrant, that's why I just don't know why they didn't hold her on that alone.
Yeah, I didn't even know that part. She should have been arrested for putting her hands on him, I guess, because she had a warrant out for her arrest already.
And I don't understand that whole process. But so is it racially motivated? It's race, unless somebody just directly comes out and said it's a hard thing to prove. Because just like when it comes to jobs or whatever, you can say, oh, they're being racist, but you don't have any proof. They might just say, oh, you weren't qualified for the job. You don't know why it is, but unless they tell you. If they say it, then it becomes an issue. But if they don't say it, that's always the catch. But we know, I mean, everything in this country is racially motivated, honestly.
Yeah.
Economically.
It's underlying. I can definitely say it's underlying with racial
definitely underlined
tones and so most likely. That's a definite.
And it's not an excuse or a pass that people like to say, well, y'all just want a pass. No, it's not a pass that we want. We just want everybody to have the same process that you give to this person is the same process you give to this person, regardless of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
The same time you give to this person for committing a crime is the same time you give to this person for committing the same crime. Right. It just needs to be even. I mean, we need to get over it and make everybody accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
And
would you say it's more police? Honestly, when the more we talk, I feel like this is more like police negligence than anything. You're telling me she had a warrant out for her arrest. They were literally in there in the space to be able. They was literally documented. I think neighbors called because they were in a high-rise apartment. So why wasn't she or him arrested? I feel like he would have still been alive.
So I think, and we don't know. Again, we don't know if the parents, the families were involved. I don't know what kind of family she comes from, but it seems like his family is close knit. I don't know if they were involved in telling him, hey, your children are grown and they're going to do their own thing, but you should still stay in their ear. Because if I'm having a thing and I know that my son is putting his hands on a female, or then I know something is wrong because that's not how I raised them. So
family saying that he never did it. They said he would never do that. He would never put his hands on. I'm like, yeah, you guys. I mean, somebody did.
Yeah. But he should have got away from her for accusing him of that, and then that way.
Yeah, I don't know why he stayed an extra week after all that happened.
It's just weird, but I'm glad that they're reopening it, and hopefully they get a fair trial. I mean, we see how it turned out with George Floyd, with the Trayvon Martin case. It didn't turn out well, and he's still walking around here a free man because he made an accusation and he got away with murder, literally.
Yeah.
So my condolences to the Boomstele family, if I'm saying his name right. And to Courtney.
It was an unnecessary death.
I don't know if they raised a murderer, but she needs to get some help, and she needs to serve time if she's taking people's lives. If it wasn't self-defense, I don't know. Self-defense, you're gonna grab the next thing closer to you. So if they were in the kitchen and she grabbed a butcher knife, that makes sense. If they were in the bedroom, then it's pretty.
She already had a knife on her.
Yeah, you just have a knife.
It's just a lot of details missing, and this is not to take It's not to take away from what happened to this young man. I don't think it was right. I think it was unnecessary. I do feel like if the case was handled a little bit differently the week before, he'd probably still be alive. We're talking about a week's time. If he was, away, cool off some time, they left them there together, knowing it was already a volatile situation, whether she was a volatile one or he was a volatile one. You know, I don't know. That goes to a whole nother topic. It's just about domestic violence, and then are we too lax with it? A couple fighting each other. The fact people have to be called, we just leave them there and think, oh, they're not going to do nothing to each other, and now someone's dead a week later. Unnecessary. Whatever. No matter what happened, I don't feel that it had to escalate to that. But if you look at a lot of CSI or Lifetime, as we do,
every night,
I was thinking, like, if she had stabbed him in the back or just kept stabbing him, they call that crime of passion. But then, the scary part is that some people were saying she probably knew what she was doing. Like, what if she planned it out, knowing, like, because she only stabbed him once, just to, like, it's almost like to stop the person. But that, so it's very subjective and it's hard. But I'm glad the case is being opened up because there's too many loopholes and missing pieces to it. Yeah. And that justice is served either way, right. No matter, but hopefully I do think that the case deserves to be heard and give my condolences to his family. Yeah.
She needed to take a lie detector test. And
it's just I just think what we can agree on, regardless of the facts, is that it's not right just to be like, it's self-defense without due process, at least being questioned, about it. Like, that just doesn't shine right. So good luck to the family in getting that resolution to this case.
And y'all stop meeting these daggone Instagram girls, I'm telling you. Y'all don't know what y'all getting into. And that goes both ways. Y'all stop this foolishness. That's going to be another whole topic. But, I mean, it's hard enough to get to know people in real life for who they are. Meeting people online, they have personas. You're enthralled by their appearances. And these people are so fake outwardly and inwardly that you'll never know what you're getting. You got to be careful, man. And as always, stay prayed up. And that's from a 40-year-old perspective, okay? Some things. Thank y'all for joining us. And let us know what you think. Drop your comments below. And again, click like, click share. Share this with your friends, y'all.
See you later.
Have a good one.